welcome back. We're post-Henty in the Henty hangover here, and we're rocking around doing some irrigation. It's early in the morning, it's 7:30 in the morning. It's not that early, but it's early enough, I guess. And just checking out the irrigation, make sure everything's going fine. One more time I set up here, this is the one that's on. Seems to have dropped and done everything like it was supposed to. This bay here, just look in the corner, looks like it's watered. Everything's going fine there. That's a good start. Sometimes you get down here and everything goes haywire, so that's not very nice. But yeah, how'd we all go, Henty? Are you enjoying the video so far? I'm going to probably chuck up 2 or 3 before this one, and then I'll chuck 2 or 3 more up next week. I'm just still in the process of editing them. But yeah, if you're enjoying the lack of mid-roll ads, I haven't mentioned this on the YouTube yet. We have been running no mid-roll ads for all of this week, and all of the Henty videos so far. If you're enjoying that, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and watch the video all the way through, and we might continue it on. At this stage, I'm seeing a little bit of a spike in audience retention data and that sort of stuff, but it's it would only be a small bump over what we usually get. So, look, I want to make the experience better for you guys as non-premium watchers, because there's only about 16% actually have YouTube Premium. If you want to keep it going, let me know, and make sure you do as best to spread us as far as wide as possible. It's up to you guys, really. We might not ever go back to the amount of ads we had before, but I might, if it's not proving to be very successful, I'll just add like 1 ad in the middle of it or something. Anyway, we'll see how we go. The Henty went quite well. Thanks to everyone who came up and said hello. Met a hell of a lot of people on that day. We sold about 20 or 25 caps, which we were really excited about, considering we only sold them for about half an hour at the bar there. We were very, very excited with how all that went. But yeah, anyway, let's rock on. We'll go and have a look at this. I got, I think, 3 or 4 blocks on irrigating, so you can come and watch that, and yeah, we'll give it a go. Other thing is, we're rocking a new set of sunnies. These are the Ray-Ban Metas. Hopefully we can get some footage on them and you can see exactly what I'm doing with my hands all the time. Probably not going to wear them all the time, but for days when we need to film, I'm going to chuck them on. A bit too dark for them at the moment, but you get the idea. I can get them back on my head. My bay's making it through anyway. So this is the Annapurna wheat that we did back in the we sowed it back on one of the videos. Some people may remember that. And 4 bays on here. Looks like we've got at least 1 bay through here. They run a bit funky. They always have. Got 1, 2 bays through. Oh, why? Just got a big hunk of mud up on my windscreen. It's not very nice. Gotta go for the gubbly bums for this one. This block that we're watering here is called the old irrigation, which, as it implies, is the oldest of our irrigation. It was formed up by someone back in the 80s. Oh man knows the story. And it was probably one of the first irrigation blocks in the district. Way back in the day. It was definitely the first one we had, that's for sure. Being the oldest of all of our irrigation. It's got the oldest of all the irrigation styles we have, which is basically there's a pipe through there, and there's a plug in the end of the pipe. Just got to get to the other side. These ones are watering here. I did some of these yesterday. This is our plug here. As you can see, that's a fair way down in the in the water there. Hence the reason for the gum boots. You got to get in there and pull the plugs out, and they're generally tight as hell. So it's a bit of an old trick here. Pull the ones you need to open first before you put these ones in. It slightly drops the height, but as you see up in this one, up here when we get a bit closer, some of the ends of the pipes are way out in the water, and makes them real hard to get out too. I'm not a big fan of this system. It's painful. It won't be too bad. Some you got to really reef on them, and you're sort of out there balancing on one foot trying to reef on them. It's not ideal. And the perna's looking okay. It's not as strong as some of our wheat, but to be fair, it had about the worst start out of all of our wheat too. A little bit of ryegrass out there too. Don't know what we're going to do there. This may get cut for hay yet. We'll see. This is the third pipe. You see it's actually out of the water. They're at different heights. They all need redoing. This is in drastic need of a modernisation. But the whole thing's like that from start to finish. They're just all over the shop. Different lengths, different heights. Some of them are partially blocked with dirt. The revolution of the Padman stops really did fix a lot of the issues we have with our irrigation. Our fair water's just travelling straight past the check bank here into the 5th, 6th and 7th bays, which is not what I want. Drastic modernisation needed. It's flowing down here as quickly as it's flowing anywhere. Righto. Let's give the glasses a go. And stand out there. Oh no. Now it's got one underneath my hand here. There we go. Perfect. Hands are dirty again. Can't shut off my video. So that's the 4 new bays on. And go and close the other ones. These ones are only about 300 metres long, but it's not too much flow here, and it's spread over a fair width, so it takes a little while for them to get there. They'll probably be done in about 10 hours, I think. This one over here, about 500 metres, they take about 15 hours, 16 hours actually. I'll probably turn them on overnight, so I don't have to be down here in the middle of the night to change them. But these will do for today. Probably be back at 10 hours from now. It's 8 o'clock, so I call it 6 o'clock. Hopefully they should be done by then. I think they will be. Trying to catch my breath here. So the key to these buggers to close them off is don't let them slap in there, and watch for centipedes underneath the buckets. Pop that in there and just let it slowly suck in there. The suction of the water generally drags them in there, but don't let them drop. If you let them drop, that's when they smash the buckets out and you gotta go and get a new one. Anyway, repeat for 4. I'll see you back at the ute. Doesn't matter how many times I cross that rickety bridge, I wonder when the mesh is going to fail and I'll fall straight through it. Hasn't happened yet. I reckon there's a few of you guys who are going, but whoop-de-doo, Basil, what does it all mean? Where does irrigation water come from? Where does it go to? Well, for starters, the plants use it, but we always get a little bit of excess. Before we do that though, I'll show you where it comes from. It comes onto our farm right here, these Death Ridge wheels. You would have seen them in the last video with Jimmy. We've got a series of them, along with a few more modernised stops that allow the water to come from the West Kooragang Channel scheme onto our farm. So the West Kooragang Channel scheme starts at Corowa, and it pumps out of the Murray River into its own channel system that runs from Corowa all the way out nearly to Druidery, where it opens in between. These Death Ridge wheels, the whole purpose of them is to measure the amount of water coming past. So West Kooragang can charge us on the amount of water that comes through here. We pay money for this water. At the present moment, it's around $200 to $250 per megalitre, which is very, very expensive. But you've got the crops out here, we want to feed them, otherwise we will have no grain because it's getting very dry again. Death Ridge wheels spinning about 20 megalitres per day, so that's 20 million litres a day it is. And this pump over here, I'll go and have a bit closer look in a sec, is a lift pump. It lifts the water from here up higher to bring it out to our fields. It's the only lift pump we have. It's just all based on height of the paddock and how much water head we need to actually water those barleys. But at the essence of the thing, all this water comes from the Murray River. We have an allocation. We've bought permanent water, so that means we get an allocation from the New South Wales government. They let us know how much we can have every year based on the amount of inflows and how much water is in the system and where it's got to go to. Some of the water in the Murray River system goes down to South Australia's environmental flow, and then from there, from basically the Hume Dam onwards, there's a bunch of irrigators all the way down pretty much to the South Australian border and beyond who use this water, including us. So that's the Murray irrigation scheme. West Kooragan's not the only one with channels that run off the Murray. This is just one system out of many. MIL system starts about 30 k's that way, and it does a very, very big swathe headed more towards Finley, Deniliquin, that sort of area and beyond. Don't have any water on MIL system, it's all through the Kooragang. My brother Jimmy's on the chair, or he's on the, what do you call it? The board. He's on the board for the West Kooragang Association. So there's about 10 people on that board. They all make the decisions for the West Kooragang. It's a farmer. Well, it was originally built by farmers for farmers' use back in the 1960s, and farmers still sort of run it, although they have general managers, water balers, and a bunch of employees that are employed by it. Little single cylinder Kubotas just chugging away there, and yeah, there's one thing I know about irrigation pumps: they'll stop when you're not ready for them to stop. One more thing I should mention: West Kooragang, their bailiffs will come and put boards in the channel to build the water up, available for us to use. When you don't need it, they'll drop boards out, or they'll close doors, whatever's in the way, to let the water go further. And essentially, it's a demand-based system. They'll send more water to us as we need it, and they can make those adjustments based on how much water is needed, how many people are irrigating, etc., etc. It's a very demanding job for those people, particularly when it's a heavy water season like it is at the moment. Takes a lot of managing, and we generally have to put in an order for water. Takes about 3 or 4 days to get to us, then we can start irrigating. And that's the head end. That's what we call the head end of irrigation, the top end. So the question is, why does the water run from the head end to the tail end? Well, there's a gentle slope. For those who remember our laser bucketing videos earlier on in the year, that's what the laser bucket does. It puts a gentle fall from the top to the bottom so the water can run straight along the bays. This is what they call flood irrigation. The flood irrigation waters the crops, then it comes out the tail end, which I'll show you now. This paddock here has already been watered. It got done earlier on in the week. It's got some healthy looking barley in it. Right, we're back where we started. This is the tail end of these bays we first looked at. The water's coming from the top to the bottom, and that's the tail end. So that water will run along there, along that ditch, back around the back side of this dam that we'll past here, and back into this sump is what we call that. That's a sump. From there it can be pumped. It can be pumped back into the head end, which is this is a head supply channel here, and same for here. This one feeds another paddock behind the dam. This one feeds all the paddock we were just watering. You can send it back whichever way you like, or if you don't need any water and you need somewhere to put it, That's what the dam's for. You put the water back in the dam. Our dam has nothing in it at the moment. We had plans to do some earthworks in here. Didn't come to fruition anyway. It's got enough water in it to be a pain in the butt, which means we can't do any earthworks. So at this stage, we're just pulling out of the sump back into the head ditch. Anything that's coming off this paddock and this paddock is actually going onto this paddock over here, or the one behind the dam here we call swamp paddock. It's the one with the canola in it. That pump essentially just lifts from the sump back into the head end or the dam. That's the whole idea. That's the premise of every irrigation system everywhere. They're all the same. If you're flood irrigating anyway. Start at the top, work to the bottom, and then lift it back up with a pump. Simple. So essentially we've gone from the oldest style irrigation system to the newest style, which is these Padman drop boxes. Essentially, some of you would have seen this in the corn before, but that's a rubber flap that comes down on this timer here. You can shift these timers. If not, you can just use the winch there, and it will drop the flap into the water. Open the pipe, and then the pipe essentially irrigates underneath this road I'm sitting on here out into the paddock. Very simple, very effective, very easy. Allows us to just come to each individual stop and pick up these timers and drag them and put them wherever they need to go. Picking them up, very simple. Chain system. We've got these handy dandy little you call them keepers for the chain, so it just stays up. And just lift it off like that. Put it into the back of your ute and see I've already got a fair few in here. And move it on to the next stop. Very simple. Before I move on, I thought I'd just show you this timer style. This is what they call a channel check. It allows us to keep water at a different height across the paddock, just depending on how much dirt had to be shifted when this was lasered the first time. There's 2 channel checks in this one, and this is the green timer. Runs a very similar system as the other one does. If I can get the damn thing open. That one opens, that one. It just clicks open. There we go. There's a keeper there. That one just opens up. You can turn it on, get it to do whatever you need, and it's basically just a heavier duty version of the orange timer. It just uses a cable system. It'll actually move that winch and open and close your flap as need be. But that's they're just a heavier duty system. People use these up on a heavier irrigation cycle using more water. This pipe here can handle at least 40 mega litres per day easily. So if you're watering out into your bay with 40 megalitres, those are the style and size you need essentially. For us, we only ever use them on the channel checks because we're always trying to water with about 20 to 25 megalitres is what we're putting through here. So this one stop will take 25 megalitres. Those 4 pipes that I turn on and off down in our irrigation, they'll handle about 20 megalitres. Here's our pipe that's open here at the moment. It's taking a good 20 to 25 megalitres there. Tell by the speed of water. And she's flowing out across the thing now. There's someone probably thinking out there, why can you put 25 out here and only 20 out those 4 pipes? Well, it's just the size of the pipe. And that's the supply we can get. That's how they set them up back in the day. This will water this bay, which is very long. It's about 600 to 700 metres long, in about 4 hours. Those pipes take about 12 hours. The big disadvantage with that is if you've got, the longer the water is on the bay, the worse it is for the crop. You want to get it on and off as quickly as possible. Hence the reason we've changed to these systems. You just use the timers, get the water on, get the water off, and it's better for the crop all around. Okay, so our last stop, which is still yet to water, had about 6 hours until it was going to be finished. So we take one of these new timers here and we'll set it for, so this is how the timers work. Dusty. Got hours, minutes, time before watering and watering duration. They always start at 24 hours. You've got to come back from 24 hours. I'm not sure exactly why that is, but that's just the way it is. So we're going to do 6 hours there, I should say, and we're going to put it on for 5 hours. This crop's a little bit thirsty. It's using a fair bit of water. That's why we're here. And that's it. Simple. Take your stop, put him on the pole. Ooh, try not to tip over, fall over I should say, and loop your chain in there. Worst thing you can do is forget to put the chain in there, because then it just drops and does absolutely nothing. Next second water's coming up, you've got water coming at it, you're pumping towards it, and suddenly all the water's going to find somewhere else to go for the next 5 hours. In this case, she's safe. This one will definitely be safe. So this is our last bay. Got 6 hours on the first one, 5 hours on this one, that's 11 hours. So we're going to set this one to start in 11 hours, and that will be enough for me to come back. I will be back tonight at around 6 o'clock to continue setting them up. And that's it. That's basically it for the timers. They're pretty simple. They've got a battery in them. The battery lasts a certain amount of cycles before you need to recharge it. These timers are getting a little bit old and they need updating, but at the moment they're still doing the job. They are very simple to use. Just a little bit heavy to carry when you have to, which is the good part about this style we have here, and why we've moved to nearly this style across the whole board, is you've got a road, you can come straight to the timer and continue on. Anyway, that's it for this paddock. We'll go and do the other style we have, and then we'll go quickly have a look at the pivots. So this is our last style of stop there, E-Series stop from Padman, Padman Stops is the name of the company. The E-Series stops were the first of the Padman drop, well, they're drop flaps, they're not really a drop box, they're drop flap. They work pretty well. They can water at the same speed as the drop boxes we looked at before, but essentially you can't drive along beside them. Is the worst part about them. You got to walk along, grab your timer, and continue on. We're going to set up a couple of timers here. After I have a bit more of a look around, I'll take you along for the ride. Just come to the second paddock I've got running here with the same stops. This one's on here at the moment. I'm going to find out the time on him. As you can see, fairly decent flow going out there, about 25 megs again. You can see they're fairly narrow. You've got to traverse those to go and get the rest of the timers. So I might go back to the glasses for this next bit. I don't really want to carry the camera around, but I thought I'd just come and check and see how long this one's got to go. Watering duration, about 40 minutes to go, which is about what I expected. I'll go and get those two over there, and then we'll go and set them up further down the channel here. These ones are going for fairly long, about 5.5 hours, so they're not getting too much water flow. We're trying to almost come uphill from our big Turkey's Nest dam over there back up to here, and it's proving to be a little bit more difficult, but you can do it. That's all that matters. Righto, now we've got to cross this narrow thing, become a tightrope dancer. There's a few problems with it. The cables tend to snag your feet, and very narrow. If you've got mud on your boots, nothing works real well. And then to make it even worse, you put 1 and 2 timers in your hand, and suddenly you've got about 15 kilos per arm, and the balance throws it all out. It is not hard to fall into the water, which is not great when you're dealing with timers that are electricity. I haven't dropped one in the water yet, but I've gone very, very close once. I've only ever fallen in the water once, but it happens. It happens. Wheat's looking nice and healthy out here, trying to walk sideways and look sideways at the same time. Well, we've got our 2 timers. We made it across the skiddy stop there. It's a little bit narrower than the rest of them, which is handy when you have to drag them over it all the time. Righto, so we had 40 minutes to go. They're taking 5.5 hours, so time before watering 40 minutes. Watering duration, we run on for 5.5 hours. Now for the second one, we run 5.5 hours plus 40 minutes. What does that equal, guys? Tell me in the comments so I can find out on Sunday, approximately 4 days after I do this. 5.5, 40 minutes, that's correct. It's 6 hours and 10 minutes. So this one will be set time before watering, 6 hours and 10 minutes, and 5.5 water duration. 11 hours and 40 will take me through till 9:10, so 8:30 tonight. We'll be back here before then, so I only need to set up these two timers. Thing I forgot to mention, guys, is the flood irrigation tends to use a little bit more water, and as I said, it's not quite as good for the plant as, say, our lateral irrigator, which is over the back there. Tends to grow better plants than what the flood does. But it's a quick way, an easy way to get water on, water off. It saturates the soil completely. It lasts a little bit longer, but this one you can just meter water on it, say an inch or 12 mils or 15 mils or whatever you want to do. This chucks 4 inches at it every single time. This crop is taking 4 inches worth of water at the moment. I think that's right. 1 meg to the hectare, I think that's 4 inches. So it's taking 4 inches straight up. That's why it's taking so long for these to come through. When we usually do corn, they'd take, instead of these timers taking 5.5 hours, they'd take about 3 hours. It's just there's no water in the soil at all left. The crop has used it all. Hence the reason we're here. Back across these narrow stops. But I'll do the figure how many hectares we've got of each, and I'll let you know. Just doing the figures then. It's about 587 hectares of flood irrigation, 200 hectares of lateral irrigation, and 150 hectares of pivot irrigation. That's our total irrigation, so nearing on 900 hectares worth of irrigatable crop or land, which is, yeah, it's never enough. We're continuing to put more irrigation in all the time. I've got another paddock over here. It's 120 hectares. It's going to be all flood irrigation, hopefully. Hopefully going to work on that with the laser bucket this summer. Just running through a couple of the figures that are associated with watering at this time of the year. As I said, water's about $230 a meg here at the moment. Each crop's using about a megalitre, so that's going to cost you $230 to water it. But the idea is you should get 1 to 2 tonne, probably more. Just depends how many times you have to water it. Back return on investment. So if your wheat's $300 per tonne, you should get $600 back from your for every 2 tonne you gain on your $230 investment. That's the idea. Hard part is stomaching that cash repayment. Earlier on this week, Jimmy had 145 megalitres of water going out onto these crops at one time. 145 million litres per day was going out onto the crops at $230 per megalitre, and that equated to about $33,000 worth of water going out every single day to be used on these crops. Anyway, that's the game we play being irrigation farmers, particularly at the cusp of what's probably coming is, by the looks of it, a drought next year or the year after. So it's the pivot pump again. As for the last video we had, she's still into it. We're onto our second set of pivot points so far. And to be honest with you, I think this is going to be the last set. The crops up just on the hill just aren't worth watering. They're just not. They're very, very thin. They're dealing with some sort of toxicity issue or a clay issue or something up there that we need to deal with. There was just no money spent on this property. We've only had this one for 2 years or so. There was no money spent on this property whatsoever to rectify anything, and it's we're dealing with those inherent problems now. That's just the way it goes when you buy your land. Sometimes you just got to work at them, get the gypsum, get the lime on them, get fertilizer into them, probably delve these pieces, but we're hesitant to delve considering the nature of the irrigation and whatever. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to delve something that's well, for one, it's got pipes underneath it, and two, all these irrigator circles have got to run around on the top of them, so it just becomes mush when you delve it, and we're just nervous we'll just get bog central with these pivots. But maybe a tiger pass would be in order. Not sure, just we need to figure out what's going on, get a few pits dug and all this sort of stuff to figure out why it's performing so poorly. But this stuff under the irrigator down here looks pretty solid, so we'll soon see what it looks like when we hit it with the header. But pivots are still going. If that light's flashing, you probably can't quite see it. If that light's flashing, means it's all good, and I can actually see that light from my house, which is good because it's about 4 or 5 kilometers away, but I can actually see that light. If I look directly up my driveway, I can see that light. So you make sure this one's running still. When the corn was here, we had corn under these pivots last year. I actually lost sight of the little light. You couldn't quite see it because the corn got too tall. But anyway guys, that's a rundown of the irrigation system, as it were. For those who are interested, we'll be floating around this most of the summer, doing bits and bobs here. But yeah, she's dry here in the river end at the moment. Everyone's irrigating everywhere with what they can if they've got the water. Luckily for us, we had a bit of water tied up in our large dam. I haven't gone past the large dam, but you'll probably see it in future videos. You've seen it in reels, all sorts of stuff. Go back and check a couple of our earlier corn watering videos and you'll see that setup. Anyway guys, if you liked the video, make sure you like it. Make sure if you like the channel, subscribe. That'd be great, thank you. And yeah, if you want these mid-roll ads to continue being left out, make sure you do all that, and hopefully we can make it work. Anyway guys, have a great day, and we'll see you all next week. Cheers.